Wally's been trying to buy a house for 3 years. He's doing everything right, but the house keeps moving. Here's a number. The median first-time homebuyer in the United States is now 40 years old. That's an all-time high, according to the National Association of Realtors. In the 1980s, the typical first-time buyer was in their late 20s. The share of first-time buyers in the market has been cut in half since 2007, from 40% of all purchases down to 21%. 62% of Americans say home buying feels unrealistic in 2026, and 85% still believe it's part of the American dream. That gap between believing in something and being able to do it is not a personal failing. It is 3 brain glitches working at scale. And the first one starts before you ever look at a listing. In Germany, Switzerland, Austria, countries doing fine, thank you, most people rent. Nobody calls it failure. In America, it's different. Home ownership isn't just a financial decision here. It's how you prove you made it. A 2025 Coldwell Banker survey found that 56% of Americans say home ownership represents what the American dream means to them personally. More than getting married, more than having kids, more than a college degree. That framing turns not yet owning into a status problem. And research on social comparison shows the brain doesn't experience status problems neutrally. It experiences them as emergencies. So you stop asking, does buying make sense for my actual situation right now? And start asking, how do I stop feeling like I'm behind? Those are very different questions, and they lead to very different decisions. The 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is a uniquely American invention. Most countries use variable rates that adjust. In America, if you locked in at 2.8% in 2021, selling your house means giving that rate up forever and taking on a new mortgage at 6.5% for the same house in the same neighborhood. Your monthly payment roughly doubles. So, people don't sell. 80% of existing US mortgages are currently below 6%. More than half are below 4%. Economists estimate this lock-in effect pulled over 1 million homes off the market every year since 2022. That is the ceiling above your head when you're trying to buy. You can't see it. Your brain assumes the shortage is about you, your income, your timing, your luck. It isn't. The market is frozen by a mortgage product, not by your failure. Kahneman and Tversky showed that the brain anchors hard to whatever reference point it encounters first, and adjusts from there, usually not enough. For most Americans, the reference point for when do I buy a house came from their parents, their family stories, the TV shows they grew up watching. In 1991, the median first-time buyer was 28 years old. A house cost around 3 times the median income. The late 20s timeline made financial sense. Today, however, the median home costs more than 5 times the median income. The 20% down payment alone is roughly equal to 1 full year of the average household's gross income saved. But the expectation in Wally's head, and probably in yours, was built in a completely different era. And a brain that feels behind the schedule it inherited doesn't slow down to check the math. It rushes, it stretches, it overpays. Because the goal is to stop feeling late, not to get the right house at the right time. The anti-glitch is called the baseline reset. Before you measure how far behind you are, figure out what the actual finish line looks like. In your city, at your income, with 2026 numbers, not 1991 ones. Not the American dream version, the real one. That number might be closer than you think. In some cities, it's further.
In some cases, it points somewhere else entirely. But your brain can only make a good call when it's measuring against something real. The American dream map your parents gave you was drawn for a market that no longer exists. The reset isn't giving up on the house, it's finding out where it actually is. The house isn't the problem, the map was.